Hey folks, and welcome back. So if you've seen my previous video, you know that I'm working on an Underdark terrain set, and I'm basically just gonna dive right in from where we left off, get moving on this stuff. So I'm gonna start with the 7 small pieces of scatter terrain, because those are the easiest to make, and they also let me test out the techniques I want to use, and even things like the color scheme for the paint and things like that. So I'm going to be using this stuff, this graphics medium chipboard for the bases. It's just sort of like if you've never used it, it's just sort of a thick cardstock basically. A little hardier than that, but something in that range. And I'm just going to cut out 7 bases from this, start putting stuff on them. I'm not going to plan it out too much, these are just scatter terrain. So I don't want to put too much thought into it, I kind of just want to get moving on it and see where I land. Let's get started. Okay, so here's a close-up on this stuff if you're not familiar. You can see the thickness is just a couple of millimeters. You can get it in different thicknesses, but this is what I have on hand, so it's what I'm working with. I'm not even going to trace these out, I'm just going to start cutting, to be honest. Any rough edges or whatever, those can be smoothed out later. I'm not going to be particular about the shape or about anything like that because it's just rocky scatter terrain, so there's really no reason to be too particular about it. Once it's cut out, you can just take some scissors and just round out any edges like that. And bam, one base pretty much ready to go. Yeah. And we'll do a little more work on those to make them presentable, but those are the basics of it. Now, the reason that I would use this as opposed to, say, a foam base or something like that is because of the low profile. It sits nice and flat on the table, and even though it is paper, it holds up pretty well to washes and things like that. It glues. So it makes it a pretty nice medium to use for bases. All right, now we have 7 of these that we need, so just gonna cut 7 out. I'll see you in a minute. All right, there we go. We've got 7 bases cut out, various sizes and shapes, and a little bit of scrap left over from just that one piece of chipboard. So you can pick this up in a pack on Amazon or at your hobby shop for just a few dollars. I wouldn't say it's like a lifetime supply of this stuff to get a package of it, but it will last you quite a while. So definitely worth it if you've got the cash to spare. All right. So the next part, as it were, is foam. I'm going to do a lot of foam crafting, I think, for the stalagmites and just for the rock formations in general. Now I have a couple boxes of old foam offcuts and scrap, and this kind of stuff is ideal for this sort of project where you can just use up these old bits and pieces that you have around for scatter terrain, especially for something like rocks where, I mean, you can paste it together and just carve it up afterward if you have to. There's really no set way that rocks have to look. Now you might have a specific vision in mind, but even so, these scraps are kind of ideal for this, and it's a great way to clear some stuff out of your workspace. I have spent years basically hoarding crafting materials, stuff that I think I will use for some project someday. I would be lying if I said it hadn't gotten a little bit out of control. So as much as possible these days, rather than buying new materials and new minis and anything like that, I'm trying to go through what I already have, to look through old material and find some of the inspiration that I saw in it originally and use it up. And that includes getting rid of old scraps. So this is like a 2-for-1 thing for me. All right, gonna get the foam cutter out. See where we end up with this. Okay, so I'm just gonna take these larger chunks of foam like this and just carve some general stalagmite shapes out of them. I'm not really sure yet how exactly that's gonna go, but we'll give it a shot. We don't have to be too precise, you know? It's just a rock formation. Do want to get rid of this flat surface that's kind of left here though, so I'm going to keep cutting, even though I'm kind of happy with the relative shape of it there. Something like that. Alright, so I think something like that for the larger formations will do just fine. Obviously, there's no texture on that yet. That's just the general shape, but I think that that will work out pretty well, actually. All right, we are gonna need a whole bunch of them, though. So, time to do this like a million times and speed up the footage 1,000,000%. See you in a minute. Okay, so here are all 7 with their basic layouts. As you can see, I've got a couple that are kind of like boulder pieces, just like these lower laying boulders. On 1 or 2 of them, like these ones, I've left some open space so they can be filled with foliage or mushrooms or kind of whatever else strikes me as the project goes on. I do want to give a sense of verticality, of having a big open cavern above you. So I've done a couple with these long spires on them as well. And this one is going to require some more construction, but it's basically going to be something like this, just to give a sense, again, verticality, and that there is something above you being supported by these pillars. It's also just a neat shape, something to put on the table that's a little bit different. Which, none of these have texture yet, obviously. So that's going to be the next step, is going to be texturing, probably with a tinfoil ball and a heat gun, I think is what I'm going to go for. But we'll see what happens. In the meantime, I'm almost at the point where I'm going to need to start constructing mushrooms and foliage and things like that for the Underdark. So, I've actually never made mushrooms before, really. If you have ideas for that, if you have a favorite way to craft mushrooms, let me know. Okay, so that is pretty much it for today. In the next video, I'm going to be texturing. Yeah, getting all the texture done on these, putting this one together, and we'll at least get a little bit more of an idea, not of the final product, but of what the final shape of the smaller terrain pieces is going to look like. And again, if you have ideas for how to make mushrooms, if you know good ways to do that cheaply, that's fantastic, let me know. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I like the verticality that I got, and I like that I used up a ton of old scrap pieces from my bin. Anytime I can do that, that's a huge bonus. Foam is not cheap, and I like to keep the hobby as inexpensive as possible. So anytime that I can dig into those bins and use those offcuts, because I hate throwing those out, anytime that I can do that, that's fantastic. Thank you for watching. like, subscribe. You know how it goes. I'll see you on the next one.